On Christmas morning, Emily Reeves woke not to the sound of presents or carols, but to a bank notification that stopped her heart. The screen read, "Deposit from Prestige Auto, $23,000. Memo, vehicle sale. No warning, no explanation." That was the exact current value of her silver SUV, the one she'd purchased outright with her consulting bonus the year before. 24 hours earlier, Barbara Delaney's home glowed with Christmas lights, the kind of house that promised warmth and family. Inside, the eggnog flowed and carols played, but the real performance began when Barbara clinked a fork against her champagne flute.
Joshua, darling, I've got a little surprise. The old family SUV. It's yours now. Merry Christmas.
No way. I've never had a car this nice. Aunt Barbara, you're the best. She didn't ask. She never asks. But it's done now, and I'll just have to manage the aftermath.
How thoughtful, Barbara.
But Emily already knew the car was hers, and the bank had already flagged the deposit. The drive home that night was a cage of silence, the dashboard lights casting hard shadows across Emily's face.
You were quiet back there. Everything okay?
You tell me? That was my SUV, Michael. Not the old family car. Why didn't you say anything?
It's just a car, Em. My mom meant well. Joshua needed a break. I didn't want to ruin Christmas.
A car I bought with my bonus. A car that's in my name? You let her give away my property and called it a gift.
She's not going to let this go. Maybe if I just stay quiet, she'll calm down.
She didn't answer. She walked straight to the bedroom, closed the door, and sat on the edge of the bed, staring at her phone.
He's never going to stand up to her. That deposit proves it. Someone sold my car and he knows more than he's saying.
Christmas morning, before the house stirred, she reopened the banking app. The deposit from Prestige Auto still glowed there, undimmable. She dialed the number listed on the transaction and held her breath as the line began to ring. The line clicked open. A tired voice answered. Prestige Auto. Emily spoke slowly, each word measured.
I'm Emily Reeves. There's a deposit from your dealership for a car I never sold. Who authorized this?
The manager pulled up the record. A woman named Barbara Delaney came in with a signed title transfer and a young man.
That's my mother-in-law. She had no right. I need a copy of that transfer document right now.
Within minutes, a photo of the title transfer arrived on her screen. The signature at the bottom was a crude imitation. She zoomed in on the shaky Emily Reeves scrawled across the line. Not even a good forgery, just desperate. Her hands steady, she closed the email and dialed Barbara's number, the line ringing once.
Emily, sweetheart, Merry Christmas? Is everything all right? Cut the act. You forged my signature and sold my car. I have the documents right here.
She ended the call before Barbara could spin another lie. The bank deposit was the sale proceeds from her own stolen car. Emily sat in the cold light of her living room and dialed the police non-emergency number, her heart a steady drum.
I need to report a forgery and grand theft auto. My mother-in-law sold my car using a fake signature.
The officer on the other end sounded tired. He asked if it wasn't just a family misunderstanding, a civil matter.
This isn't a dispute. I have the forged title transfer and the bank deposit. I'm filing a criminal complaint.
The officer sighed, then took down every detail. Her VIN, the forged signature, the sale amount. When he still seemed skeptical, she read him the exact deposit amount from the bank statement. The officer gave her a case number and said a detective would follow up. No timeline, no promises.
A case number, it's something. But will they actually do anything? Or is this just a file in a drawer?
She saved the case number, the forged document, the bank statement, and every text into a locked folder. She stared at the folder on her screen, knowing she'd done what she could. The rest was out of her hands. Christmas afternoon settled over their house with an unnatural quiet. Michael found Emily in the living room, her eyes distant.
Em, calling the police? That's extreme. Can't we keep this in the family?
She forged my signature. That's a crime. Why are you defending her?
She's my mother. I'll talk to her. We can fix this without police.
He's lying. He never forgot. He's terrified of his mother and wants me to swallow this.
She said nothing, letting the silence stretch until Michael's nervous fidgeting gave him away.
I'll go over there right now, please, Emily. Just give me a chance to make this right.
You had your chance when she handed those keys to Joshua. You said nothing. You won't now.
The afternoon dragged into a cold stalemate. Christmas cheer evaporated, the tree lights no longer reaching either of them. That night, she locked the guest room door and lay in the dark, knowing she was completely alone in her own house. December 26th, barely 8 a.m. Her phone vibrated on the guest room nightstand, Barbara's name flashing, already demanding.
I'm not dropping the report, Barbara. So unless you're calling to confess something. Emily, please. I was just trying to give Joshua a start. I never meant to hurt you. Save the tears. You forged my signature. Explain that. Michael told me to. He said you'd agreed to sell it. I didn't know.
Emily pulled the phone from her ear, her eyes locking on Michael as he shuffled into the guest room, looking guilty before she even spoke.
Michael, did you give your mother permission to sell my car?
She was crying, Em. I just said you'd probably be okay with it. I didn't think it would matter.
She didn't wait for more. She hit end call and dropped the phone on the bed, the silence crushing.
He told her it was fine. He handed her my signature and told her it was fine.
Emily pulled into the Prestige auto lot under a low winter sky. Her breath steadied as she rehearsed the words she'd need. Inside, she asked for the manager with a voice that was calm, but carried no room for delay.
I am Emily Reeves. I need the original title transfer document that was processed under my name without my consent.
The manager crossed his arms and began reciting privacy policies. She cut him off with her police report number. He returned minutes later with a manila folder and slid it across the desk, his face now uncertain. She opened the folder. The signature at the bottom was a shaky, childish imitation of her own neat cursive. She pulled out her driver's license and held it beside the forgery. The difference was laughable. She snapped photos of every page, the phone's click the only sound in the silent office. The manager admitted, after a long pause, that an older woman and a young man had come in, and she had sworn everything was authorized.
Permission from a son who never asked his wife. This evidence is airtight.
The silver SUV sat in Barbara's driveway, cleaner than Emily had ever kept it. Joshua stood back, admiring his work.
Joshua, that car isn't yours. It belongs to me, and I have the title to prove it.
What? No, Aunt Barbara said it was hers. She gave it to me.
Emily held up her phone, the photo of the title document bright on the screen. Joshua's face crumpled.
She forged your name? I didn't know. I never would have accepted it.
The front door banged open. Barbara flew down the steps, her pearl earrings swinging wildly.
Emily, how dare you come to my home and harass family? You've crossed a line. I filed a police report. Forgery and grand theft auto. The detective has your signed confession from the dealership.
Barbara laughed, a sharp, brittle sound, but her hands trembled as she gestured.
Laugh all you want. The police will be in touch. Ask Joshua what he thinks now.
That evening, Emily's phone began vibrating without pause. Barbara's texts came in waves, each more unhinged than the last. The first, "You spiteful little snake. You've ruined Christmas for my family." Then, "Please, Emily, I'm begging you. Joshua is innocent. I'll get the car back, I promise." And finally, "If you don't drop this, I'll tell everyone you're unstable. You'll wish you'd stayed quiet." Emily took a screenshot of each message, her fingers cold and deliberate, adding them to the evidence folder.
I heard your phone going off. What now?
She's threatening me, but I have it all. Every vile word she sent.
You're making everything worse. If you'd just let it go, none of this would be happening.
She didn't argue. She walked past him, entered the guest room, and clicked the lock shut.
I'm not the one who broke this family. but I will not be the one who stays silent.
December 27th dawned cold and silent. No voicemail, no callback, just the case number still glowing on her phone. Michael found her in the kitchen, her coffee untouched. He leaned against the counter, his voice softer than before.
Em, it's been days. Can we just let this go? Forgive her and move on. This is destroying us.
Forgive. He says it like the word can undo a forged signature. He doesn't see that her smirk was the real crime.
The image of Barbara's smile in the lamplight, that slow, satisfied curl, rose in her mind and locked her resolve.
She smirked at me when she handed over my car. That's the mother you want me to forgive.
She didn't wait for his reply. She walked to her office and opened the detective division email from her case file. She attached everything: the forged title, the bank deposit, the string of toxic texts, and her full account. She typed, "Case number 1274. I am requesting an update and attaching corroborating documents. Please confirm receipt."
I gave them everything. If they need more, I'll stand in their lobby until they listen.
That afternoon, her phone displayed an unfamiliar local number. Emily answered, already reciting her case reference.
This is Detective Harris, Auto Theft Division. I'm reviewing case 1 through 74. Can you confirm your full name?
Emily Reeves. Reeves. I sent the documents this morning.
A pause stretched on the line. Then his voice sharpened, not with skepticism, but with sudden recognition.
Reeves. That's the firm that handled the pro bono defense for our department's civil suit last year. Is that you?
Yes, I'm with that firm.
Then this case just became personal. I'll review everything tonight. We don't let forgers walk.
I've got the forged signature, the dealership admission, and a screen full of threats. I'll send them again.
She hit send and watched the progress bar fill. For the first time, someone inside the system was listening.
He knows what my firm did for them. This isn't just about a car anymore. It's about justice.
Less than 2 hours later, Emily's phone rang again. Detective Harris had worked fast.
Mrs. Reeves, we have enough to charge Barbara Delaney with forgery and grand theft auto. Officers will be at her house tomorrow morning.
You're moving that quickly?
When a case this solid lands on my desk, I don't waste time. The dealership manager is cooperating fully.
A cold satisfaction settled in her chest, but she knew the hardest part was just ahead. She found Michael in the kitchen, scrolling his phone, oblivious to the storm she was about to release.
It's done. They're charging your mother. Officers will be at her door tomorrow morning.
No. Call them back, Emily. You can't do this to my mother. I won't let you destroy my family. Then I'm done. I won't support this. I'll go to my mother's.
She didn't call after him. She stood in the kitchen, alone, and felt no regret. That night, sleep never came. She lay in the dark guest room, the house silent, her phone a cold weight in her hand. The screen lit up with Barbara's name. Emily answered with a quiet hello, waiting for the performance to begin.
Emily, please, don't do this. I'll give you the car back. I'll write you a check right now. Just make them stop.
Emily stayed silent, letting the sound of Barbara's unraveling fill the line.
You ungrateful brat. After everything I've done for this family, you forged my name. The police are coming tomorrow.
She ended the call before another lie could escape Barbara's mouth, then stared at the call log. Evidence complete. In her kitchen, Barbara stared at the dead line, then slammed the receiver down with a scream. Her finger moved on its own, capturing a screenshot. Another file for the locked folder. The police would arrive at 9. Barbara's next tears would be real. Emily parked 3 houses down at 8:40. 2 squad cars turned the corner without sirens, their lights dark. The officer stepped onto the porch and knocked with 3 solid raps. A long pause. Then the door opened a crack. Barbara stood in her robe, the same smug pearls now hanging crooked. He read the charges in a level voice: forgery and grand theft auto. Her face crumpled, and a wail escaped before she could catch it. She looked past the officer, eyes searching the street, and found Emily's car. The crying stopped. Joshua appeared in the doorway, pale and already looking at the officer like a man who knew. The officer turned to him. "The SUV in your driveway has been reported stolen. The keys need to be returned."
I didn't know it was stolen. I'm sorry.
Joshua handed the keys to the officer, his arm trembling. Emily's hands gripped the wheel. One patrol car remained as the officer walked back to the SUV. The keys were back where they belonged. The officer approaching her window held out a set of keys. "You can take the SUV home now, or we can have it impounded."
I'll take it. It's mine.
She slid behind the wheel, and the familiar weight of the key fob settled in her palm. The engine turned without hesitation. She drove past Barbara's house. Her mother-in-law still stood on the porch, red-faced and screaming something lost to the wind. At home, she found the bedroom in chaos. Michael was grabbing clothes, stuffing them into a duffel bag.
I'm going to my mother's. I can't be here with you after what you've done.
Emily didn't answer. She leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, and watched him pack. He zipped the bag, grabbed his keys, and brushed past her. The front door slammed heavy and final. In the sudden silence, she walked back to her car and stood beside it, running her fingers over the hood.
It's back. And I'm still standing.
Over the next 2 days, her phone buzzed without mercy. 41 messages from Barbara. Fury, crocodile tears, hollow pleas. Each new notification she captured and filed, the folder growing into a monument of harassment. Then her banking app lit with an official alert. The fraudulent deposit had been fully reversed. A follow-up message offered fraud protection and a direct line to their investigation team.
Reversed. Just like that. The money was never mine to begin with.
She called the dealership one last time. The title was clean, her ownership undisputed.
No more loose ends. The paper trail is flawless.
The house felt different without Michael, quiet, but not lonely. Hers. She glanced toward the garage where her SUV sat, hood cool and ready, the key fob hanging by the door.
Some people steal, some people stay silent. I chose to act.
The divorce attorney's office smelled of old paper and coffee. Emily placed the folder on the desk and sat without waiting to be asked.
The full picture. A police report for forgery, 41 threatening texts, a forged signature on the title, and a husband who stayed silent while his mother gave away my car. About as clean as it gets, the attorney said. Another person who sees the truth.
She signed the necessary forms, her pen pressing down with the certainty of someone who no longer second-guessed herself. When she walked out, the weight on her shoulders had shifted, not gone, but lighter, as if justice had moved from an idea to a document. An email from Michael arrived that evening. She read it without moving. It said, "I'm in therapy. I want to fix this. Please call me." She archived it into a folder labeled "Closed," then deleted it from her inbox.
Therapy is for people who want to change. He only wants to escape consequences.
She didn't reply. The silence was her answer. She printed one particular screenshot, a message where Barbara's apology finally sounded real, dripping with regret. She placed it in a simple black frame. The frame went onto her desk, facing her chair like a receipt for what she'd been through. She packed only what mattered, her clothes, her laptop, the evidence folder. The rest could stay with Michael. The new apartment was small and bright, her SUV parked safely below. Michael called one last time. The name flashed on her screen for 3 seconds. She pressed decline and returned to unpacking. The divorce papers arrived in a plain envelope on a Tuesday. She signed them without hesitation, the pen a quiet hammer of finality. Old joint bank statements and insurance policies went through the shredder next.
No more Reeves, just Emily.
A few weeks later, she sat in the quiet of her new apartment, the morning sun warming a cup of coffee between her hands. The framed screenshot on her desk caught the light, a message that once would have stung now just hung as a trophy of clarity.
She thought she could break me. All she did was teach me the weight of my own backbone.
Her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. The screen showed a number she didn't recognize. She glanced over, saw the area code matched Barbara's, and continued sipping her coffee. Later, she blocked it without even listening to the voicemail. Her SUV keys hung by the door, catching the morning light, a small charm dangling from the ring.
New keys, new lock, new life. No one can take that from me again.
She looked around the bright, sparse room, her room, and felt something she hadn't in years: safe. The candle on the table flickered. She didn't wish for anything. She'd already built it. She spent the morning arranging her new desk, laptop centered, a neat stack of business cards with her name alone, and in the corner, the framed apology. The frame glinted as the afternoon light moved across it. The words inside no longer a sting but a receipt. She opened her new banking app and scrolled through the clean accounts. No joint holders, no fraudulent deposits, just her own steady numbers.
The fraudulent deposit is 6 weeks behind me, not even a line item anymore.
She closed the laptop and stretched, the midday sun warm through the blinds. Then her work phone buzzed.
This is Emily.
A new client on the line, her voice eager, referred by one of Emily's former colleagues from the firm.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to help. Let's set up a call for tomorrow.
She noted the appointment on a sticky note and placed it beside the framed apology. 2 symbols of the life she'd rebuilt.
They tried to erase me. Instead, they made me something no one can take.
She sat in the driver's seat, holding the keychain with its small charm, and let herself feel the quiet. She turned the key and the engine came alive, steady and sure. She drove toward the ridge, the city skyline shrinking in her rearview mirror. The road climbed, and the winter air grew crisp through the cracked window. At the lookout, she stepped out and walked to the edge, the entire city spread beneath her. The wind pulled at her hair, but she stood unmoved, breathing deeply. For the first time in months, the weight was gone, not just the car, but the silence, the doubt.
I reclaimed more than a piece of metal. I reclaimed my voice.
She stayed until the sun bled orange and gold over the horizon. Then she walked back to her SUV and drove home, the road wide and empty before her. The highway stretched ahead, empty and golden, as the last light bled into the horizon and the city became a distant glow. She glanced at the speedometer, her hands loose on the wheel, and caught her own reflection in the rearview mirror. The eyes that stared back were calm, no trace of the woman who'd sat frozen at Christmas Eve. The camera lingered on the license plate, the letters sharp and clean against the fading light. The taillights glowed brighter as night swallowed the road, 2 red sparks in the encroaching dark. The frame began to soften, the SUV dissolving into shadow until only the lights remained. Then those 2 faded, and the screen went black. And then, over the black, a single line of text appeared, quiet and final. Sometimes the best gift is getting back what's yours. The screen held the words for a breath, then faded completely.